Casey with Mid-Kansas Marine here with Micah Waters, the fisheries biologist for the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. We're here at Cheney Reservoir, and this last week we did some brush pile fish habitat drops at Cheney, and we wanted to talk to Micah, who is the biologist here. Micah, kind of explain to us what we did and why we were doing it here at Cheney.
Yeah, so what we did was we sank cedar trees and mulberry trees in the lake for fish habitat. Cheney Reservoir has kind of void of a lot of habitat, a lot of places for fish to hang out. So we put that in the lake to kind of give them structure to orient to, and multiple species use it. Crappie, wiper use it, different catfish species. So it's really beneficial to the ecosystem of the lake to have some kind of habitat in the lake for them to utilize. So we kind of have this annual project of sinking trees as one of the easiest, cheapest resource for us to put in there. On the wildlife area, we've got cedar trees that are unwanted, and so what better thing to do with them to make fish houses, fish habitat for them.
What's the process of getting the trees from wherever it is you find them and into the water?
We'll have guys will go out and cut the trees, load them onto skid steers, take them to designated boat ramps, and then once they're laid out at the boat ramps, I will come in with cinder blocks and we'll have volunteers tie them to the trees. This will make sure that the trees sink until they get waterlogged so they're not floating around the lake. And once they're tied down with cinder blocks, then we will start the loading process. We'll load them onto our habitat barge, take them to designated spots, and sink them in the lake. Typically when we sink them in the lake, they'll either be on or near the shore for spawning habitat or refuge areas for smaller fish, young of the year fish, or we'll sink them in deeper spots to make sure they're not a boating hazard. We'll sink them usually 15 feet or deeper. We'll provide a lot of habitat for fish in the wintertime, specifically crappie.
Yeah. About how many brush piles did you put in this year?
I put in over 100 different piles, quite a bit, more than we have in years past. When I first started doing this, when I came on in 2020, I think we maybe put 80 trees in the lake and a 3-man crew. And the effort and the operation has grown every year, and now it's becoming quite large, and we're making quite an impact.
Good, good. And you're looking at like contour maps to kind of find best placement for these brush piles, and you're trying to drop them in strategic locations for the fish?
Yeah, like I said, a lot of it has to do with the depth and the area of the lake where we think the fish may hang out. Other times it may not be so much of a fishing hot spot at the time, but we'll hope to kind of spread it out and provide the fish more areas to hang out, basically.
Yeah. Well, Micah had mentioned it, and I want to give mention to several businesses that are members of the Kansas Walleye Association who donated their time and equipment. Small business owners, Adam Swisher from Swisher Hydro Excavating, Kyle Altvater from Altvater Concrete Construction, and Carl Erickson from Erickson Construction. They worked with Ted Webster and Trent Webster, Jason Human, Tate Webster. All those guys donated their time, went out and cut the brush piles, loaded them on trailers and then transported them to the lake. And then we had some volunteers that came out and helped us tie on the blocks, loaded them on the barge, and we did our thing. Also a plug to Eric Schultz of Mid-Kansas Machine in McPherson, Kansas. Eric worked with a private donor who donated a lot of time and resources, and they came up with a design and built the dump bed on the pontoon that we were using to drop piles at Cheney. Micah, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Appreciate everything you're doing for the reservoir. We appreciate it, and see you next time.